Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. We're talking to some of the world's biggest stars, some of my favourite people, and we've certainly got one for you today. Dame Esther Rantzen, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Well, I'm not as good as you. You're so smart and so classy. It's nice to meet somebody who can still do it, and you still seem to love the business, don't you?
Well, I've had a lot of luck and a lot of opportunities, and I'm very grateful for them. And I got a lot of support, as, for example, my daughter Becca, who is here to keep me in vague control.
Well, for us, it has another meaning. So when you say she can still do it, I'm worried because we have two things we don't talk about in the show, and that's sex and Brexit. So I was worried where you were going, but that's all very nice and complimentary, and now I'm going to have to deflate the ego so she can fit into the flat.
I've just sat through your show, which is on tour across the UK. You're here for a week in Edinburgh, and it's so charming to see a mother and daughter on stage. I mean, it's more a conversation than a show, really. You don't follow the rules, do you, Esther?
Well, you see, the trouble with rules is I'm never quite sure who makes them up and why they make them up and whether they improve life. So I am a bit of a rule breaker. And on this show, as you would have gathered, even though we have some sort of plan, we never stick to it. So we never do the same show twice.
It's so great to see a life on stage that has been recorded for TV, and therefore we can see the clips. I mean, I grew up watching you on TV, and it's sort of your job to celebrate your mum's life. What's it like being Dame Esther Rantzen's daughter?
So, I've been asked that question before, and I've never quite understood what my answer should be, because every time I answer it, she looks at me quizzically, and I'm not sure whether I'm getting myself disinherited with everything I say. So the standard line is, it's absolutely wonderful, of course it is, you should all be Esther Rantzen's daughter if you can, try it. But the real line is, it has its ups and downs.
And she's immediately disinherited. Cut her out the will. No, there have to be ups and downs, because the kind of work I've done all my life, and maybe still am doing too much of, is all absorbing. You don't have a moment when you're not thinking about it. You wake up thinking about Childline or The Silver Line or whatever program it is. And it must get in the way a bit of our family life together. And in fact, the children intervened recently.
Well, this is the problem, and it's a good problem to have. She's great fun to be around. Right. She is the matriarch in our lives, and my children, her grandchildren, absolutely adore her. She's made herself absolutely important and vital to all of us, which is why we're jealous of her time and want to steal her back, especially as she is, if I may say so, 78 years old. So she could be taking it a little bit more easily, maybe not starting another national charity, maybe not doing another campaign, maybe not doing a huge primetime series, but she is. So we intervened and said, let's have some more time together. This is what is most fun and most important and actually limited.
What is it? An obsession with helping people, a love for doing it, or just the fact you never want to be bored?
All those things.
Maybe the last.
All those things. Yes, I do find it difficult because I've only got two paces. One is stop and the other is full speed. And I've never been good at moderation in anything. So therefore, when there's an important idea that comes my way, like Childline or The Silver Line or whatever it is, I have to see it through. It sort of carries me along. And I suppose there are times when I ought to stand still and say, hang on, there's other people that can do that just as well, if not better, so why don't I go back and play with the grandchildren?
And this isn't a new thing. I mean, when you were a child, you were saying during the show that even on your day off, you'd go in the office to make sure that everything was still on the tracks. I guess that's what this business does in a way. If you want to do it well, you've got to be obsessive about it.
That's the thing. I mean, people call it a young person's business. And it is a true thing that you have to have energy. You have to be hungry. You have to keep going. I mean, I recently made a television series in which we started at 6 a.m. and finished at 10 at night. And I did reel around a little bit at the end of the day and thought to myself, why was that such a good idea at the time?
The worst question that anyone could ever ask her when she was doing That's Life, which used to go out on a Sunday night, was, what do you do with the rest of the week? Oh. She just used to go into paroxysms of fury. What do you think I do? We have 15,000 letters a week, so...
you know, there are other things I would like to do besides work.
What about a cruise, a 3-week cruise, something like that?
Oh, funny, you should say that. Where are you going with not me? Not me.
Well, by coincidence, I was asked by the Silver Line to go on a Saga Cruise because Saga are partnering the Silver Line and supporting us. And they want me to go on a month-long cruise to publicise the Silver Line. And that is perfection because it means that I'm doing something which has value, but I'm also going to have a lovely time.
The problem is, though, you're Dame Esther Rantzen and everybody's going to know who you are and you won't be able to go 10 paces. That's the problem.
But you know, people are very kind. They don't go out of their way to insult you. If they don't like you, they avoid you. Unlike the internet,
right,
where the one thing that seems to turn the trolls on is being vile.
Right.
I don't know who those people are. But so that people will talk to you about their lives if they think there's something relevant they want to discuss with you. But the rest of the time, they really leave us alone quite nicely and we can enjoy ourselves.
We're going to have to do a 40-minute interview to touch the sides of anything you've done in your life and career, but just on the charity stuff, what you did with Childline was so inspired. And then to go to Silverline, I mean, it's both ends of the spectrum, really, that you're supporting the vulnerable at both ends. And loneliness is something you touch on in this show that you're touring across the UK. DameEstherRantzen.com, I think, is the website. And what you touch on is so fascinating. You can have 3 children, you can have grandkids, you can be surrounded by friends, but you can still be lonely. It's an interesting psychology, isn't it?
Yes, I think that for many people, certainly for me, loneliness is associated with loss. What Becca knows, and it's true of her too, you know, we lost Desmond, my late husband, way too early. He was only 69. And for me, the toughest things are when I'm somewhere that he would love. And, you know, we were recently on a week's holiday as a family in France, and he would have adored it with, you know, his new grandsons and so on. And that's tough. I think the difficult times, the challenges, you can cope with because you just have to cope with them. So put your head down and cope. But it's those moments when you're watching the sun go down and, you know, there's a glass in your hand and there are yachts bobbing in the marina, which he adored because he loved the sea. And you think, where is Desi? He should be here. And that's, I think, the kind of loneliness I've experienced.
And then I have to ask you the question, has it ever been a consideration that you could find someone else, look for someone else, or are you done?
No. Done is different, isn't it? I don't like feeling done.
I'm happy with you being done. If it's in the bedroom, that could be done. But to have someone to walk you.
I wasn't talking about in the bedroom. Don't bring this down.
I just don't want to think about her dating anyone. I want her to be happy.
That's very selfish. Come on, Becky.
I know, but it's just. No one ever wants to think about their parents dating anybody else.
It would take the pressure off you because then you wouldn't have to worry so much.
I would love to spend some time with her.
Oh, right, so that's the other way.
No, obviously.
And that's the great thing about the tour. We do spend time together, and it's terrific because otherwise there's always some obligation, some other thing that we have to be doing. She's got responsibilities with her family. I've got responsibilities with, you know, this and that. But during this tour, we have to sit in a car, sit in a train, talk to each other, discuss, you know, some of the jokes and stories that you've heard today.
On the train, she nearly found a future husband with the train guard who was very enamoured of her and said, I can't believe you're a senior citizen. And then when I started slightly vomiting in my mouth, he was like, oh, you're just jealous. Oh.
Well, that must have been nice. Did he upgrade you or anything? Give you a free sausage with your breakfast?
Oh.
No, I mean full English. Come on, don't bring it down.
Full Scottish. We're in Edinburgh.
Yes.
Well, I did do 2 programmes, one called Would Like to Meet, which was a BBC programme, and one called Celebrity First Date, which was a Channel 4 programme. Both of them great fun to make, very kind of them to include me, didn't lead anywhere.
You seem to still have the twinkle in your eye. I'm struggling to understand whether you're too busy or you're not busy enough. It seems like you're saying you don't get enough time with her, but you're saying you've got too much time on your hands. Which one is it?
I think if you can get work-life balance right at any stage in your life, it's a very clever trick. And I'm not sure that I've ever done that, but that's my ambition.
You mentioned in the show right at the end, somebody said, will we ever see That's Life again? For me, it was one of the most inspiring bits of TV I've ever seen. A, because it was brave. B, because it was hysterically funny. And then it would be devastatingly serious. And to get that mix right is so rare, and they don't do it today. You implied it could come back in some form in a new 2018 way on Channel 5. Is that right?
There is that possibility.
And you'd like to do it?
I've been asked to get involved with some sort of programme making of that ilk.
Now, we don't want you working on your day off, so we can't have that, can we?
No, exactly. I like how cryptic she was there. I want to know the answer. She never answers my questions.
There's only one question she asks, and she asks it every time, and I never answer it.
Oh, go on, we must do that.
Well, it was who is your favourite out of Princess Diana and the Duchess of Cornwall, as we say in England, but we've got to say Rothsay here.
Yes, you were just heckled when you walked in the room, and a naughty man said that you were incorrect. I don't know what he was talking about.
Yes, because Camilla is up here. She's the Duchess of Rothsay or the Countess of Rothsay. But what I love about when she asks that question is the audience always goes, ooh, and it's such a funny response by them that I don't think they notice it. I never quite answer it.
You really did have the heyday of show business. I mean, the people you got to meet and interview, now when I look down my list of people that they offer, they're mostly reality stars. You had proper stars back in the day. I wonder whether you have any ambition to do a chat show again. Not that I'm trying to give you more work, but I mean, there are some stars left and you'd be perfect to interview.
Well, I do feel very lucky to have met the people I've met. And I do have extraordinary memories of them. And, you know, the show today, we do a different show every time. We ought to talk about Mrs. Thatcher and the Queen. But I have been very lucky. Would I do another chat show? Well, I remember when I did one and I interviewed Norman Wisdom, who was 90 at the time, and he licked the end of my nose.
Oh.
So it's not quite the easy job it may appear.
You're putting me off now.
Well, I don't know if anyone ever licked Michael Parkinson's nose, but thereby hangs a thought.
Yes, I think they did. Didn't Grace Jones slap him as well? And
No, that was Russell Harty.
that was Russell Harty.
No, it was Emu that beat him up.
But Grace Jones attacked him. She physically
Really?
attacked him.
She does most people, really.
Yes. Well,
It can be a dangerous game talking to people,
It
can't it?
certainly can. It certainly can. I'm not sure if I'm ready for it without a suit of armour.
Were you amazed by the ambassadors you had for your charity? I mean, you mentioned Princess Diana, and she was one of the first to support Childline, and I think it helped it on its way. And it's hard, isn't it, to make a successful charity? I know that sounds sort of incongruous, but to have a successful charity that lasts the test of time is almost impossible, and you've done that.
It is difficult, and the way Childline survived was to merge with the NSPCC, which I think was the right decision. And it means that we have been able to help millions more children. And I think you have to... It's no good regarding a charity as a personal possession. If it's worth anything, it's worth protecting the service. Even if it means merging with another charity or doing all sorts of things that, you know, mean that you have a reduced input. You've got to do it if it's worthwhile. You've just got to do it.
You talked in the show about the 4 million children that you've helped. In one way, it's incredibly depressing that there are still children that need to be helped. That's a reality of life. But what you also talk about is the inspiring stories that come from that the people you've helped often go on to help other people. That's beautiful, that sort of circle of life, isn't it?
Yes, I call it the upward spiral, and it's never talked about. But, as Becca once said to me, save children, save other children, and good lives on, you know, and I hope that our Childline volunteers recognise it. It's not just the child on the phone or the child online that they're counselling, but it may be future generations that will owe so much to what they're giving. You know, they're giving their time, they're giving their skill, but above all, they're giving their commitment to the welfare of these children. And I think the fact that they're doing it because they care, and only because they care, is what makes it so valuable to the children.
Is it thrilling that you're still relevant? I drove in my car the other day and there you were on Jeremy Vine, ranting and raving. You were being quite inappropriate, really, to be honest, embarrassingly so. But they still want you on. You're still here. You're still pulling audiences and you're still doing TV. It must be great to be you.
That was quite a funny interview because for some reason everybody was fascinated by the fact that I sunbathed nude. Now, it's only in the privacy of
Why did you have to bring that up? This was going so well. Do we want to talk about this?
No, but she does. She'll talk about it a lot and she'll write an article about it. it, and she won't stop, so you might as well let her get it out.
Carry on. Talk to me about you bathing naked.
Sunbathing and bathing, yeah, absolutely. On our holiday, it was really nice because the children go to bed early.
My poor father-in-law had to go and be locked up in the house because Esther was swimming nude.
I don't even have a bath without my underpants on because I don't like looking down on the unemployed. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be careful, haven't you?
Very funny, very funny. No, well, my point was that we're so buttoned up as a nation that perhaps to unbutton, let the elastic give way a little, is probably good for our souls.
But I look like... You what, sorry? Your soul. Oh, your souls.
Our souls. So that's all I was saying. And I unbuttoned Jeremy. Well, I didn't really. He unbuttoned himself. Only his shirt, my darling. But he was so uncomfortable, he had to do up his shirt buttons quickly. He said he felt very bad with his nipples on display to me.
She does have the most incredible figure. Sorry, it's just the way she laughed at the end of that. She really amused herself. That's her.
It was nipples that did it, wasn't it?
It's what's that? In the funny races, the wacky races, the dog that goes, and that was her real.
Very muttly.
Yeah.
Yes, I always think Elaine Page has the best laugh of all. It's a really dirty laugh, and I think she cultivates it because it makes everything. We once on That's Life had the funniest laugh in Britain contest, and none of them thought that their own laugh was at all funny, but they laughed at each other. And I remember one wonderful June evening, we come to the end of a series and we were having the finale of the funniest laugh in Britain, and the window was open in our hospitality room, and it sounded like, I can't remember whether I thought it was more like donkeys or hyenas, but this incredible braying noise came out through the summer air, and that's when I thought That's Life is unique. Nowhere else can you get 20 funny laughs competing with each other on a summer evening, except on the fringe of the Edinburgh Festival.
There you go. What I didn't like about your show, you began by talking about how we're going to remember you when you've popped your clogs. We don't need to do that. Can't you put that at the end of the show?
I know, and she talks about it a lot, but so did my dad. They've got this maudlin thought about, I think when you're so successful, you wonder what your legacy is going to be, and she doesn't want her legacy just to be teeth and vegetables. But I think her legacy will be nude sunbathing at the moment.
The only plan I've really made was I'm going to be cremated, and
we're going there.
I've no idea what's going to happen in the rest of the service, but at the very end, that dramatic moment when the curtains part and the coffin slides out of sight into the fiery furnace, the piece of music I want is "Come On Baby, Light My Fire."
Really?
That's what I've asked for.
Should we all attend naked in your honour? I think this... Don't react like that.
No. I think we should wear clothes. I think we should wear our favourite Esther-inspired outfit. Maybe rubber gloves like she wore to Acorn Antiques premiere, thinking that's what everyone else was going to wear. Then she looked like a cleaning lady come terrifying gynecologist. Or maybe a terrible Strictly Come Dancing outfit. Or we didn't talk about I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here on today's show, where she still has the record for staying in a coffin, which would be appropriate, for the longest time with cockroaches, which was 47 minutes. Wow. So, yeah, some Esther-inspired outfit I think would be appropriate. Why are we talking about her funeral? She's going to live forever.
You brought it up, not me.
No, she's going to live forever. She's said that she will. It's okay.
You are such an inspiration. You're so credible. You've done such brilliant work, and what you've done on TV is fantastic. I hope we get to see you again, but you must give yourself time and time for your family, and a cruise where you can actually relax, not be with the punters. We can't have that.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I think the crucial thing is, if I was Prime Minister, maybe somebody would like to vote me in as Prime Minister, I will make a law which says everybody has to have fun at least once a day.
Final question, what do we think about Brexit? Oh, look at the time.
Quite right. We're not going there, we're not talking about it. No.
Becky, thank you so much. It was lovely to see you today. A beautiful show. You're on tour now. You can go to the website, which is dameestherrantzen.com, find out all the dates. You're coming to London as well, which is a big date, which will be fantastic. Thank you so much. You're such a legend. I appreciate your time.
Great pleasure. It's lovely talking to you.